A Day in the Life of Dennis Terrell. What I think about is the opportunities that we squander in life. Sometimes we might have been successful or we might have got us a business going. Then we squander it. We just give up. We don't invest in it. We don't put money into it. We don't put time into it. All we do is waste our time. Now, what do we waste our time doing? We might waste our time playing video games. We might waste our time hanging out. We might waste our time. Basically, like, I'm not going to lie to you, I play video games. I watch TV, but at the same time, you want to better yourself. What are you doing to better yourself? Every chance you get, you should always be working on yourself, working on ways to better yourself. And the only way you're going to do that is put the time in. It seems like people are afraid to put the time in. If they want muscles, they don't want to exercise. They don't want to do the hours it takes to build muscles. If you want to be an inspiring rap artist, you don't want to go to the studio or you don't want to practice. You just want to get on stage and perform and think that's it. It's more than that. You got to perfect your craft. The only way that happens is putting your time in. You want to learn martial arts, but you might only learn it 2 days a week, but you don't want to go home and do the rest in practice. Even kids, they don't want to do everything they can while they're young to succeed so they can have a bright future. It all comes down to putting the time in. Do you put the time in to better yourself in life? And that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't put the time in. That's the biggest problem in everything. Then when other people succeed in doing exactly what you was doing, they wonder why. Because they put the time in. It comes down to you have to invest in yourself. Why is that so hard to understand? You don't want to invest in yourself, and that's a huge problem. That's why you can't be successful. The only way for you to get to the next level is you got to put the time in. You have to sacrifice. That means, oh, I can't hang out with my friends all these hours. I can't play video games all these hours. Oh, I can't go to the club. I can't be hanging in the street because I have to hone my craft. I have to put my time in. When you see exceptional people in the world, that's because they put the time in. They practice. They did everything they could to be better, to better their lives. That means they sacrificed. That means they lost a lot of friends. They lost a lot of people close to them because they had to sacrifice and put the time in. Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to put the time in? That's what it comes down to. Are you going to put the time in to do what you need to do to succeed in life? And that's the biggest problem people have. They don't want to put the time in. And that's a problem. And that's always going to be a problem. If you're a basketball player and you're a mediocre basketball player, why are you mediocre? Because you didn't put the time in. If you go to the gym but you don't got the muscles you could have, it's because you didn't put the time in. If you're trying to lose weight and you don't lose the weight you want to lose, why? Because you didn't put the time in. You didn't exercise like you need to do. You didn't eat right. You have to put the time in. That's what it comes down to. You have to sacrifice, do what you need to do so you can put the time in. I mean, it's simple as that. I can't explain that no other way than sacrifice your time. Time is everything. You ever talk to a person that's married and they ask why the relationship will fail? Because they didn't put the time in. That's the problem. It failed because they didn't put the time in. You have to put the time in. You have to do everything you need to do to get to the next level. That's in whatever you do. Whatever you do, you have to put the time in. If you don't put the time in, it will never work. Your business will suffer. Your relationship will suffer. Friendships will suffer. If you're going to college, that will suffer. If you're going to regular school, it will suffer. If you're trying to be an athlete, it will suffer. It all comes down to you have to put the time in. If you got a successful business, it's doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and you trying to take the next level, but you sell your business early, guess what? You're not putting the time in. It comes down to what are you using your time for? You have to put the time in to get to the next level. That's all it is. That's the truth. That's the facts. What you want me to tell you? I can't make this up. Whenever I wanted to succeed at something, I had to put the time in. I had to go out there, work hard. I had to do everything I needed to do to get to the next level. I had to put the time in. You wonder why people are so great or why they're so good at what they do. Because they sacrifice their time and they put their time in. If I end this right now, I could end it in. You better put the time in. That's what it comes down to. So if you're a person that procrastinate or waste times, you will never be successful in life because you wasted your time. That's even if you got somebody that love you, but they don't love you back. You putting the time in, but they not putting the time in you. They putting the time in somebody else. So you need to cut them loose, let them go. They're not putting the time in for you. They putting the time in for somebody else. So why stay with them? It comes down to, a person loves you because they put the time in. They give you time. They spend time with you. That's the most important thing you can give your child is time. If you sacrifice your time and play with them, spend time with them, teach them things, show them different new things. You always at home talking to them, teaching them. You putting the time in. Your coach as an athlete care about you because he taking time out training you. He's putting the time in for you to be successful. If you in college and you having problems with a certain class, you get a tutor. The tutor really take time out to teach you so you can understand the class. They care about you because they putting the time in. It all comes down to you have to put the time in. To be successful in anything in life, you want to put the time in. That's what it comes down to. What are you willing to sacrifice to get where you need to go? If you're not willing to sacrifice the time to get where you need to go, nothing is going to work. Nothing is going to get accomplished. For you to start your own business, you got to sacrifice money and time. That's what you have to sacrifice. You go to college today. Right now, you're going to take a college course. You have to sacrifice your time. That's what's important. Every job you ever worked on, overtime, regular work hours, just doing regular 40 hours, they expect your time. They expect you to be on time. And then if you work overtime, they expect your time. That's what it comes down to. So what are you willing to do to be at the next level? If you can't have a conversation about giving up your time to a person, you don't need to work for them. You don't need to be with them. It's just simple as that. Because you're not willing to put the time in. It takes time. It takes time for a relationship to grow. It takes time for a marriage to grow. It takes time for children to learn because you got to take time out to teach them. It all starts with the word time. That's the most important thing is putting the time in. Whatever you do in life, you have to sacrifice your time, no matter what it is. So a day in the life of Dennis Terrell, make sure you put your time in.